GCSE English language is one of my favourite GCSEs because you can improve really fast at it. There's not loads of content to learn, and so this is a subject where everything you do between now and the exam will help you. So I'd really recommend watching this video until the end. This is all of my best advice from years of teaching now and what actually got me a 9. So the first thing then I want to talk about is that my paper 1 video on English language is also relevant. So this video will be focused on the persuasive writing, so like the speech, article, review. So if your English language paper 2 has a story, then go and watch my paper 1 video. But also the analysis tips in the second half of my paper 1 video will also be relevant. So if you haven't watched that already, I'd make sure to watch that too. The second thing then is that I've also compiled for free my English language 40 out of 40 marked article. So you can click the link in the description. I did this in a mock exam and it was marked 40 out of 40, like I said. So you can get that for free. All you need to do is type in your email, and I hope you find that helpful. Make sure to give that a read and see what like the top end articles do, but also be careful not to exactly copy or anything like that because you could be penalized for plagiarism. So this video is going to work in 2 ways. I'm firstly going to talk about writing. So the final question in terms of like the article, the speech, the review, and then I'm going to talk about analysis again, and I'm going to give some new analysis advice for this paper. So with writing then, there's a couple of things that are important. First of all, I would personally recommend starting with this question. I believe it's best because you don't want to run out of time here. You want to go into it as fresh as you can, and then you get a break when you're reading the extracts. So for me, that works well, but I know some of you guys like to kind of do it normally. But personally, I would start at the end and then do the rest chronologically. But either way, it's a very, very important question. This question alone is 25% of your exam grade. So it's really worth putting an effort to improve at this. In no other subject, apart from literature maybe, is one question worth 25%. To learn 25% of GCSE maths would take ages. So really make sure you are trying tonight and ahead of the exam to revise as hard as you can on this specific question. Now, you're going to get asked to write something like a letter, article, speech, review. It's one of those, we obviously cannot predict it. Usually there's going to be a speech and a letter or something along those lines. One of those will likely come up. But for AQA, I think you only have one choice. Edexcel, you have more, and other exam boards, you tend to have more as well. So depending on your exam board, that might change things as well. The first thing then that an examiner is going to think when they are reading your piece of writing here is has the student written for the audience, the purpose, and the form? Okay, these are the 3 most critical things for this piece of writing: purpose, audience, form, PAF. Before I'd start writing, I'd really think about those. And this is what I mean by that. So the purpose is, what is the point of your writing, right? Maybe you've got a question that says, write a speech about the dangers of social media to your peers. In that case, the purpose of that speech is to persuade my peers that social media is dangerous. Another example could be write a letter to your boss asking for a raise or a promotion. In that case, the purpose is to persuade. Almost always the purpose is to persuade, but it could be to inform. So I think my actual GCSE question was something like, write an article on helping people travel, on some travel advice. So the purpose there was to advise them. But thinking about the purpose will help shape your writing, because you've got to think about that. If you're trying to persuade, then you want to use persuasive techniques, right? So I'll put an example of a good acronym there. You want to use techniques like that, right? So rule of 3, examples, humor maybe. Use persuasive techniques. So think about the purpose. Then you need to think about the audience as well. So that's also critical. Now, sometimes your question will say, write a speech, article, whatever, to your peers. If it says to your peers, then what you need to do is slightly change your writing. So my best advice here is I would always include references that are more likely to be understood by your peers. Now, you don't want to like reference anyone like super niche that an examiner won't know, because they're likely to be a middle-aged person and they may not understand. But I would talk about people like, people that older people will associate with our generation. So people like, I don't know, Elon Musk, Mr. Beast is an example. It's people like that, right? Don't pick someone super niche, but refer to those. Refer to things like TikTok, the COVID lockdown. So if you're talking to your peers, then really make an effort to actually talk to your peers. What are people our age going to understand? So something I always really like to talk about was TikTok. I'd say something like, we all know that we spend too much time scrolling on TikTok after school. So blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So talk about things that your peers understand, but don't go too niche. That shows that you are catering and adapting your writing to the specific question if it asks you for your peers. Now, a lot of the time it won't really say a specific audience, so then you don't need to massively worry. Like if it's a magazine, don't overthink it and write for like, I don't know, families. But my example was I was writing to inform families about travel. So I was targeting it like I was talking to parents about their kids and stuff like that. So that's something to think about. And then the final thing is form. So that's, what are you writing? Are you writing a speech? Are you writing a review? Anything you're writing will have different features of it. So a newspaper article will have a heading and a subheading, right? A review will probably have a star rating. For a letter, you have to actually format it. So you want, the address there. I think it's the address there. I don't know which one's which. I'll put an example of letter format there. And then you basically write it like a letter, okay? So each of these things are different. A speech, you're going to be addressing two people quite a lot. You might start with a bit of a dramatic opening, or you might say, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to be giving a speech about. It's down to you. But really think about the purpose, audience, form. Like, genuinely think about that and shape your writing to that. That will mean that you are focused on the question, and the examiners have explicitly said that's the first question an examiner is going to ask when they're looking at your writing. So you want them to ask that and think, this student's done really well. They are very much adapting their writing to the question set. So one thing as well that you want to do is adopt a tone. You want to think about the tone of your writing. Now, basically what you want to avoid in a writing question like this is being really boring. I made this mistake in my GCSE November mocks for English language. I had to write a newspaper about something, I can't even remember now. And I just made it a bit boring. Like, I thought because it said newspaper article, I was just going to do like, this happened, then this happened, this person said this about it. Like, it was a very boring newspaper, like you might think of when you read a newspaper. But that's not actually what they want. They want your writing to be engaging. So instead, whenever I got a newspaper article, I changed it. So I'd make it like an opinion piece. I would be argumentative, I'd be persuasive, I'd be humorous. So change your tone. It doesn't just have to be a super boring, dry piece of writing. That's why I never liked answering letters personally, because I think they're just much more inclined to be boring. So what teachers always say is that a letter is best if you're literally aiming for a 4, right? If you write a decent letter, you'll probably get a grade 4. But if you want to do something more and you're going for the 9s and the higher grades, then a speech or an article allows you to be much more persuasive and interesting. So don't be afraid to be interesting. And when you read my article, you'll see that. My tone was kind of like humorous. Now, I call it teacher humor because it's not that funny, but it's the type of humor that teachers will think about and like. So another example of that is I think I always talked about stuff like Marmite, or I'd make a joke about Bounty, like with the bounties, because people like or don't like them. I can't even remember the exact joke I used to make, but I think it's in that piece of writing. So make sure you read that article. But the point is, have a tone, like try and be someone. So I would always imagine that I was like a journalist for certain questions, and I had kids. So I was actually saying like, oh, like my kids always annoy me when I do this, or like, I know us parents can relate. Like, if the question allows, then don't be afraid to kind of like put on a style and write like that, like you are some sort of journalist, because that is going to stand you out. And you want to do things that are a little bit different rather than just doing the same like boring story where you just do what they require. Along these lines as well, when they give you bullet points where they say, you may write about this, again, I would personally avoid just doing a paragraph on each of those. I just think lots of people will do that. You're not trying to be, boring and average like that. I would think about how you want to answer the question and then write it like that. You can use what they suggest for guidance, right? But don't just rely on that. That's kind of important. So you also obviously want to prepare for the worst. Now, I've already given this example a couple of times now, but my actual language paper 2 article, it wasn't really what I wanted. It was about traveling. And I remember it was just a little bit like, that's not really a question where you can be that interesting about. If it was a question about like, I don't know, I like the ones where you have to give a speech and you have to persuade people, but I was literally just giving a family advice on traveling. And so I didn't panic because I know that worst comes to worst, I can still write a really strong piece of writing if I do all of the basics well. So this is what I talk about in a lot of my language videos, but the basics are this. And by basics, I mean like the grade 9 basics. You want an incredible range of vocabulary, right? A really good range. You want to find some grade 9 words. You want to talk about, like, have some good words in there that are impressive. You want to use all punctuation, okay? I talk about this as well. So I'd have a punctuation checklist down the side, like all piece of punctuation, every single piece, okay? ... exclamation mark, speech. And then you also want a good range of paragraph and sentence lengths, okay? Have some big paragraphs, have some smaller paragraphs. Think about why you're using small paragraphs. Usually that's for impact, if you really want to like drill home a point. There's some examples again in my article. And so that's really important, is that worst comes to worst, you can still write a good article or letter or whatever it is by using those features. You want to just write with confidence and write creatively as well. So that's my writing advice. There is more on my channel, and you might even want to look at the paper 1 advice as well, the story advice. All of that will be useful. But those are some things to think about. Now, you really do want to, I would recommend reading my article, like I said as well, because that will give you an illustration of what the kind of higher grades do. Obviously, you do also want every single technique you can think of. So I always say this, but I know you can think of techniques, right? If I asked you to tell me some language and structure techniques, you could probably tell me like simile, metaphor, alliteration. But students can tell me this, but they never put it in their articles, which I don't get. Really put in everything, okay? So in your writing, you should talk about simile, metaphor, alliteration, not talk about them, but use them, okay? So use all the techniques you know about, rule of three, and that's gonna really help you stand out. You just need to do that, okay? So now I'm gonna talk about analysis. I know this video is quite long, but this is just all the advice that I can think of. So with analysis, there's something that I've been teaching recently, which I think is really effective. Now, basically it's this. So once I've done the article, I'm moving on to the analysis. Now, some students make this mistake. They read the extract, right? Or maybe they read both extracts, they read one extract, and then they read the questions, and then they have to kind of go back to the extract and like, answer the question, and that's inefficient. You absolutely want to read the questions first, all of the questions of your extract, right? And then I would write on my extract the questions that I needed to know. So sometimes there'll be a question that's like from lines, I don't know, X to Y, how does a writer use language to do this? And so before I've even read the extract, I'd mark out those lines and I'd write that question down the side. What this meant is that when I was reading the extract for the first time, I was really focused on the questions instantly. It's no use just reading the extract, reading the questions, going back to the extract. Like I said, that's really, really inefficient. So you want to read the extract knowing the questions. This means that while you're reading it for the first time, you can pick out points, and it's just going to make you quicker. It's going to make you more focused on that exact questions that you are asked. So that's a really key piece of analysis advice. As always, you want to think about the structure of what you're writing. So analysis, different types of question have different structures, okay? That's really important. I can't tell you all of them because it varies based on your exam board, but you've got to know the structure for each type of question, right? So if you're doing an evaluation question, that's slightly different from a language and structure question where you're really zooming into the specific words. So make sure you know the structure. That is really important. There's loads of YouTube videos, I'm sure, on the structure of each question. But if you don't know, then absolutely learn it, because each question does require something slightly different. So there's often lots of comparison for paper twos across different exam boards. So do remember to use comparative words, okay? So words like similarly, in contrast, those are the only two I could think of, to be fair, but comparative words. And when you're doing a comparison, you ideally want both text in one paragraph. So you want a point, text one, and then you talk about that, analyze that, and then use a comparative word like similarly, and then your evidence or point from text two, all in one paragraph. That's comparison, rather than just having one paragraph on one text, another paragraph on another text. So when you're actually thinking about comparing, then try and think about that. Now, AI can be really helpful for English language, okay? I wouldn't rely on it, but here's what I would be using AI. Firstly, you want AI to come up with some really good words for you. You need to try and learn 5 to 10 grade 9 words. So I always talk about this, but the words I used were like myriad, which means lots, opulent, celestial. Those were the ones I could think of, but I'd learn lots and lots of words. You can see in my article as well, you could even use some of the words in the extract. But the point is, you've got to try and use grade 9 words. And so ask AI, can you give me 5 grade 9 words that I will likely be able to use in a speech or article? And it will give you them. So AI can be really useful there. It can also be really useful with helping you kind of understand how to use a semicolon. Ask it for an example of a semicolon in a speech, for example, and that will help you. So don't be afraid to use AI here, because I do think it's really useful to talk to it about techniques that it really recommends or anything like that. There's one more thing then with analysis that I would sometimes recommend is think about some of the techniques that are likely to come up in non-fiction writing is facts. And there's often a contrast between facts and emotions. So I often find that really interesting to talk about. But sometimes a writer, when they're doing a piece of journalism or something, they would have some facts. So they'd say it was really dangerous. 5 people died in the last year doing this. And then they'd combine that with emotions. And I would often say that is very interesting, the juxtaposition between facts and emotions, because that really helps show that not only is it statistically dangerous, but here's the actual experiences of it. I know that's a bit niche, but if something like that comes up, then thank me later for that. So I hope you found that video helpful then. I know it was quite full with detail. To summarize, writing is obviously really, really important. You want to be interesting. You want to be different. And to do that, I was trying to adopt a tone. You can sometimes use humor. It's a bit hard to do humor, but if not humor, then talk about something a bit bigger, talk about something a bit better. So often people that are talking about big issues, like I said, I always love talking about social media and how that's chained our generation to our screens and all of that sort of stuff. Talk about that stuff. If you get a question on nature, you can talk about David Attenborough's 100th birthday. Really show that you are COVID's another example. They like when you talk about that type of stuff. For example, there was once a question that was like, write a speech on the importance of personal freedom. The lower level questions would talk about like freedom in schools and like the fact that you needed to, I don't know, children needed to be free to wear uniform. That was slightly more lower level, but the higher level students might talk about personal freedom when it comes to prison structures, or personal freedom when it comes to, social media and freedom from your phones and all of that sort of stuff. So just try and think about how you can be a bit more sophisticated, but fall back on the basics. Do not forget the basics. And as with everything for an essay-based subject, answer the question set. Really answer that question. Link back to that question at the end of each of your paragraphs. You've got to make sure you are on the question when you're analysing or whatever. If it's asking you how does the writer interest the reader, think about how the writer interests the reader. But don't just say it makes the reader want to read on. Say it interests the reader because it builds sympathy for the narrator, or whatever it is. Good luck for your exam. I really hope it goes well, and I'll see you in the next videos. You're almost done now, and English language is going to be fine. It's not an exam that you need to be super scared of, and also keep on track of timings as well.